The Wall Street Journal editorial board is reacting as well to the confirmations in a piece entitled "Trump Gets the Cabinet He Wants." And it reads in part this: Republicans seem poised to confirm all of President Trump's cabinet nominees, even those who favor policies most GOP senators oppose. This is an impressive display of MAGA political muscle. But now the president and the party will have to live with them. Good luck. Ms. Gabbard's performance will be hard to track because as DNI, she will, by necessity, operate largely in secret. She has an isolationist streak and a soft spot for Vladimir Putin's Russia. It's hard to believe Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will run Health and Human Services, given his left-wing views. Now the country will get an HHS chief who won't say if the MMR vaccine causes autism, despite mountains of evidence that it does not. Promising disruption is easy. The test of a cabinet is whether it delivers results. Our guest for first one to muster out is RFK Jr. So a lot of controversy over these cabinet picks. Joining us now, Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut. He's a member of the Homeland Security, Armed Services, and Judiciary Committees. So we're watching what's happening on Capitol Hill today. Which cabinet pick are you most concerned about, Senator?
I think I'm most concerned about Tulsi Gabbard, but it's really a pretty close second in Robert Kennedy Jr. They both failed to recognize the facts, and Robert Kennedy Jr. poses a real threat to our public health, Tulsi Gabbard to our national security. We're voting today on a nominee for FBI Director, Kash Patel, who wants to turn the FBI apparently into a sycophantic goon squad rather than the independent, impartial, objective law enforcement agency it ought to be. He has an enemies list, which he calls government gangsters, and he's on a manhunt for them. And so we're all at risk as a result of this kind of skewed, distorted approach to law enforcement. And the recent revelations, shunned by my Republican colleagues, show that he is covertly and personally directing, or involved in directing, the mass purge of FBI leadership and professional civil servants. He testified in response to my questions that there would never be retribution, that there would never be these kinds of political firings. And what is happening now, according to these whistleblowers, they're not secondhand hearsay, as Senator Grassley has said. They are credible whistleblowers who are coming to us with what they have heard.
So, Senator, I'm curious. I know these are very divisive times, but these cabinet picks, a lot of them have some very legitimate questions, and they have said things that are, I think, very clearly concerning and in some cases disturbing. Is there any interaction with your Republican counterparts? And if so, what do they say when you ask about these things?
Mitch McConnell breaking yesterday with his Republican colleagues, telling the truth to power, indicates that maybe the Trump cult, the intimidation and threats can be broken. Our tools are limited. We're in the minority. They control, obviously, both houses of Congress and the White House, and indirectly the United States Supreme Court. But we're taking the fight to Republicans in the halls of Congress, in rallies. We're going to have a rally today at the Veterans Administration, which I'm leading as the ranking member on the Veterans Affairs Committee. We are having town halls, as I did just last Saturday in our state. So we're using the public pressure that can be effective, as we saw with the funding freeze, where that kind of pressure showing the impacts on community health centers and Head Start and Medicare and Medicaid grants actually moved Republicans and led to the administration backing off. So I think there is hope, but I'm very clear-eyed that our tools are limited, and we need to really galvanize a citizens movement here that will bring pressure to bear on Republican colleagues.
Senator Blumenthal, good morning. Let's zero in on the Kash Patel nomination, please. There's obviously been a lot of upheaval at the FBI, at the Department of Justice, some firings of the staffers who were involved in the cases surrounding Donald Trump. And now, as you know, also a call to identify any agent who had anything to do with a January 6th case. Mr. Patel has denied involvement. There has been some reporting to suggest otherwise. What are your views on this? What are some questions that he needs to answer?
Well, he has answered them, arguably incorrectly, maybe even falsely. And I think we need another hearing with Kash Patel to give him the chance to answer these allegations, because they are really completely disqualifying. The fact that he has been involved reportedly in covertly directing a purge within the FBI when he said there would not be one. He has glorified the January 6th rioters, calling them political prisoners and aiding them. He has that enemies list. He calls it government gangsters. It's deeply frightening to have a potential director of this investigative agency using it and weaponizing it for political purposes, when that agency is also responsible for investigating terrorism, drug cartels, real threats to our national security and our personal safety. He's unqualified and unprepared. He lacks the character and competence to do this job and to have the credibility and trust of the American people. So there are a lot of questions that he still has to answer, but my Republican colleagues are apparently going to proceed with the record as it is now, even though he actually refused to tell us what he testified to the grand jury after he took the Fifth Amendment and was granted immunity. We still lack the facts. And I'm deeply regretful that we're going to apparently confirm, he's on track to be confirmed, a man who has these really disqualifying factors.
Senator, the question in all of these confirmation hearings, whether it was Hegseth or Patel, who's actually potentially an early embodiment of this dissonance, is, are you the person who's sitting in front of me testifying in these confirmation hearings, or are you the version of yourself that you've been for weeks, months, and years prior? Patel not yet confirmed, but we're watching that dissonance point potentially unfold now. But there are other members of the cabinet that are confirmed and are in their capacities. Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth. Which version of them did we ultimately get?
Were you lying then or are you lying now?
It was the central.
Is the classic question I've asked on cross-examination. And that's the question for these nominees. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has said that, for example, women's reproductive freedom is a minor issue that he's waffled on. He has taken anti-vaccine positions, well known now, which he has tried to walk back. Kash Patel has tried to disavow his support for those January 6 rioters who assaulted police officers. He is in charge of a law enforcement agency that will have to use the services of local police officers after he has apparently condoned those kinds of assault. And so I think they completely lack credibility. Tulsi Gabbard's tried to walk back some of her statements. Same with Hegseth. And I think the American people deserve a lot better.
All right. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, on this your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, great to have you on the show as always. Thank you, Senator. David Rohde, your thoughts on what we're going to be watching today. There will be, I guess, a lot of senators speaking out in some of these committee hearings, but these all seem slated to go through.
It's concerning, particularly the Patel thing. So the allegation that was made of Patel was that the day before he testified under oath at the Senate confirmation hearing, there were notes being sent. There were, at the time, that essentially Patel was calling Stephen Miller in the White House. Stephen Miller was then calling Emile Bove, the acting Deputy Attorney General, and Emile Bove was then pushing the FBI to oust 8 senior officials. Several of them had played major roles in the Trump investigations. And then the next day, under oath, Patel is asked about this. He says, I have no idea of any kind of retaliation that's going to happen. And as Senator Blumenthal noted, he stated flat out there will be no political retaliation or retribution
So
against FBI
correct me if I'm
employees.
wrong. Haven't we seen cabinet nominees say that and then get through and then immediately begin working on retaliation? If I am correct, who?
Multiple people. I mean, we could.
Let's do it.
Democrats have criticized Supreme Court justices who say they're going to uphold Roe, and that doesn't happen. The unusual thing here is that the day before he's testifying under oath, he's doing this. He's planning retribution, according to these whistleblowers, and then under oath, he may have perjured himself. And so that's what's so unusual. It's not that they wait and then do the retribution. It was actually underway before he denied it was happening under oath. And it's, again, sort of a use of a cutout. It's Stephen Miller in the White House. He speaks to him directly. Then it's Stephen Miller pressuring, an acting official in the Justice Department. And it's really created a climate of fear inside the DOJ. You had Todd Blanche, who will become the #2 official, testifying yesterday, as you were talking about earlier, saying there isn't this atmosphere of retribution, but that's just not true, according to FBI agents we've been speaking to.
Well, and that's what I was pointing to, Jonathan Lemire. I mean, there seems to be an atmosphere of retribution, and we've seen that in nominees that have already gone through, and then some of the first acts in office are retribution.
Donald Trump promised that retribution would be central to his presidency were he to win again. And he is following through. And many believe Kash Patel will be the chief agent for that. And